Welcome to the What's Happening Birmingham video podcast.
Hello everyone, this is Jarvis Escott with What's Happening in Birmingham. This is part 3 with my friend Cindy Wilson. She didn't think she was going to get like 3 parts, but this is Cindy. You cannot put in just one part for this great person. So part 3 of her book. So what I would like to leave for last, which I wouldn't say for least, but most important, was your family.
Okay.
And one of the things I really love about reading your book was you kind of open up about your relationships with your family, whether it was with your dad, with your mom, with your brother. And I noticed with your brother, Adrian, you was kind of like the protector of him growing up.
Yeah.
And there was one story where some kid stole his bicycle and you went and looked for that person and you said, "Where's that bicycle?" And Adrian was like, No.
No. He wanted me to go get his
he
bicycle.
did. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I was like,
and he knew I was going to deliver.
Yeah, and Cindy just bust out, and they read and gave the bicycle, and I was like, man, I noticed that even as you all got older, there was one story later on in the book, you was talking about you guys at a bar, and it was like a bar you went to, and it was like some racial incidents that occurred. He was like, and you went up and said, "You need to address this," boom, 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 boom. And like it's like most black people, like some of us, like we could either confront it, and then we confront it, they'd be like, "Oh man, we're getting aggressive, we're getting angry," or we can ignore it. And you was like, "Well, you can't do that." But then I noticed later on in the book, you kind of said, "I can see why people do that sort of things."
Do what sort of things?
Well, kind of like don't sometimes address it, kind of let it roll by, because it's like that's not going to be the last incident. It's always going to be something that comes up.
Yeah, and so I talk about how me and my friend were at the bar, and anytime I'm out and I see anything that remotely could be like discriminatory or racist, I'll call somebody out on it. And so there are situations where I'll be with my friends that are black, and those things happen, and I'm like, why don't you ever say anything?
Yeah.
Like, why, and it's like, that is naturally who I am. Like, I will stand up for and speak out for anybody that is being wronged. But I was like, why don't you say anything? And she was like, because it happens all the time.
Yeah. And
so I was like, how unfortunate is that, and how exhausting is that it happens that much, where it's like, if you had to do it all the time, like, that's just exhausting. And so it did make me kind of look at it a different way. And then, even from the perspective of, like, I consider myself a minority and I face racism and discrimination too. But then that conversation brought on too, it's like, yeah, but when people see you, they see something different. And I'm like, yeah, well, I mean, they might be like, well, she has attitude. That's an angry Asian woman.
Oh, yeah, I like what you say about privilege.
Yeah, and so, so when she said that, it did make me think about, like, as even minorities, we have to understand, too, that we don't have the same experiences other people do, that are of other minority groups, and vice versa. And so, we just have to be understanding of those type of things, instead of thinking we all have the same experience. Like, we may in some ways, but they may be slightly different too. And so I think it's important to understand that. But in regards to my brother, yeah, I'm super protective of him, but I'll say this too, he's super protective of me as well. And so, I mean, there have been times where a guy will come up to me and try to talk to me, and he'll step in. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, go sit down. I need to go sit. I know how to handle this. But yeah, so we're both very protective of each other. But yeah, growing up, like, he got picked on too, because, I mean, like, just because he was like, nerdy and he loved soccer, and, and then, in his situation, people would tease him and tell him, why do you talk like you're white?
Yeah, you're not black enough.
Yeah, and so it was like, that was something hard for him that he had to go through, and so how unfortunate is it that is who he was, but people couldn't accept him for that, and especially people of his own color. And so, and that's a big part of, like, why I wrote this book as well, is like to just present it from another perspective of people are not one-dimensional. You know, people are multi-dimensional. People of different races are multi-dimensional. Like they just don't fit into this one stereotype.
All right. So, and also like now your mother and your father, your parents was divorced. As much, I mean, it was divorced. But one of the favorite things I loved in the book was when you was very open about your relationship with your mom and how it evolved over time.
Yes.
How it started off, it's like, man, we're both alike. And then when she had a health scare, that kind of brought you all together. But the most unique moment, I would like to say, when I read the book, was when she told, like, I'm not your mother. And how she did that. Like you said, she said, well, take me to church. And when she walked in and saw the pastor, I know I'm giving away too much.
I know, I was about to say Jarvis.
Hold on, you got to buy a book. Hold on a second. I'm breaking it all down. But kind of speak a little more about, like, you know, relationship with your mom and how you two kind of overcame that obstacle.
I mean, the only thing I could say is how we overcame it was just God. Okay. Because growing up, like, and especially when you are similar to somebody else, you don't see those, you know, you both probably think you're very different, you know, like totally opposites. And that's how I looked at it initially. But then it's like now that we do have a great relationship, and in hindsight, I could see, because we both have very strong personalities and we're both type A and like to get our way, like that's why we, you know, butt heads. Even though like she's not biologically my mother, we have very strong, similar personalities. And so I think it took, like when she got sick and had the heart attack, I think it had to take something that extreme for her to realize, like, all the things that she probably held against me weren't even that big of a deal, and vice versa for me. It was like, it was weird because I had this, you know, image in my mind, in order for us to move on, it's gonna have to be like this. But then after that situation happened, it was like we both just let it go. And now we have this amazing relationship. So, you know, that's been great to see. And then it has helped me to appreciate her more and really, you know, see and look back on a lot of her accomplishments. And, you know, I can see myself in her as far as like how she just moves, you know, and some of the things that she's done.
All right, well, I want to circle back to the book. One of the things I loved about this book was that towards the end, you have a discussion about race, like, you know, have a discussion about race. And I think really with this book, more than anything, it causes you to have a discussion about race, but not in a typical sense.
Yeah.
Kind of like, for so long, you know, I speak as a black person, we always feel like we're being discriminated. What happens when the tables turn and somebody else is like in your culture and you're kind of against them? And so it kind of forces you to kind of sit back and think like, man, why are we doing something to somebody when we hate that done to us?
Right. And I'm glad you said that, because that was kind of the purpose of me writing the book, was to present a different perspective and a way of looking at how we all kind of approach race and racism. And really, it's not about looking at other groups. I mean, you have to acknowledge certain things that different groups of people have done that has caused things to be the way that they are. But then too, you have to look inside of yourself to see what contribution do you play as far as maybe even your mindset. So it's like, I recognize and I'm very aware that there are certain things that trigger me where it'll spark my biases to come into play. And so, and I think we all have that. You know, growing up, knowing the narrative that I was fed when I was younger. You know, like Jackson is it has a lot of racism. Like growing up singing Confederate flag, like, was nothing. Like that was normal.
Just like here in Birmingham.
Yeah, and so, you know, you grow up and it's like, you can't trust people and you can't, you know, so it's like everybody has a narrative that they're fed, or in situations that validate that narrative. And it's hard to kind of get rid of that, you know, when you see so many examples of it. But you have to be aware of that too, because sometimes we can get so defensive that we get defensive in a situation and that's not even it, you know.
And one of the things as well, I think we need to have more uncomfortable conversations.
100%, yeah.
Like, we not need to have conversations that's comfortable, but we need to have uncomfortable ones, or a type of, like you mentioned in your book, the type of conversations you have when you're not around a certain type of race.
Right.
Because one thing I used to love what you mentioned in your book, you was talking about, well, what do people think when they're not in front of you? Those are type of things.
Yeah.
And then also people's experiences are shaped either by the media or shaped by their 2 or 3 experiences growing up. Because you mentioned one part about your white friend and how she kind of talked behind your back and how you was growing up. That could shape your perception of what your mother said about don't trust white people. You know, things like that.
I was saying, like, that's the narrative.
Yeah.
And then that was the situation that validated that narrative for me. And so, you know, whenever, like, I feel a sense of entitlement in other people, it triggers that. But it's like, now I can kind of catch it and be like, all right, be careful how you respond or react to this situation. And then, you know, try to get more information before I react to it.
All right. So how can people purchase your great book?
So thank you, Jarvis.
I know I should have did it for her.
It is on Amazon.com. I also have merchandise on TooMuchSoul.com. My Instagram page is Asian_Southern_Belle, and my book IG is TooMuchSoul_book. So please, guys, get the book. Let me know what you think about it. Jarvis probably said just about the whole book. But there's still more parts in there.
There's still more parts of it. But,
So,
you know, I just, you know, from the heart speaking, I don't know how this is going to go because I got about 2 more minutes. Got this girl late. I'm so proud of you.
I'm proud of you, Jarvis.
From the bottom of my heart, like, when I first met this person, I'm telling you, she was cool as a fan. And like I told her before the interview, I mean, she might be Asian last time, but this girl is black. This girl is black. This girl got her black card.
Cindy.
Yeah, Cindy. She is Cindy. I said, you in the master. So you can, she can counsel folks too now. Not to do counsel, potentially. So, you know, I'm so proud of you. Thank you for, you know, being my friend, number one, always supporting me throughout the years. And I'm proud of you too and your evolution. Like, I've seen Jarvis start from like the beginning to seeing where he's at now. I'm super proud of him. Yes, and it's like, you know, when I start seeing, you know, I always tell people, in life is a faith walk, and you just never know. It's a journey. It's a journey, and it starts from front to the end. So never let somebody write. And it never really ends. Yeah, never really ends, and never let somebody write your book. You write your own book, and don't let people keep you in your box. You jump out of your box. So whenever they think they're in this one box, you jump in another box and just throw them off. Or I like to say keep them uncomfortable. Because in life, if you're too comfortable, that's when, and complacent, that's when things start setting in. That's when mindset starts setting in, and we can't open ourselves up. So are you preaching right now? I know I'm preaching. I need it because it's 5 minutes before 6. Lord Jesus, and this girl got oh Lord. I have an event. Yes, she has an event. If you're downtown, please come check it out or watch this video. You probably don't know it's probably skipped over. But, however, please check out the website. It's going to be on the little text. Buy the book. Please check out What's Happening Birmingham for more videos. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And please subscribe to all her social media accounts as well. Support her. Buy this book, y'all. Buy this book. And thank you all again. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching the What's Happening Birmingham video podcast. Please check out our website, app, or subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest videos today.